I posted one TikTok every day for a year, and here's what happened. Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll know if this platform is right for you. I'm going to be talking about why I started, how I actually did it, how I kept consistent for every single day, and we will be talking about the results. In Canada, you actually don't get paid for views, which really sucks because I probably lost out on a lot of money. So to properly analyze the full year of posting, I want to just talk about the brand sponsorships and the analytics. As of today, I have 27.6 thousand followers, 487.1 thousand likes. I had 7 videos hit over 100,000 views. I had 2 videos hit over 200,000. And I had 1 that was over 400,000. I had 16 videos that were over 50,000 plays and a ton more that passed the 10,000. 40% of my followers come from the US, even though I'm based in Canada. And if this TikTok ban actually happens, I have no idea what's going to happen with my engagement. I want to talk about the results in 4 different categories. Number 1, followers. I gained my first 10,000 followers within maybe 6 months of starting, and the next 10,000 were a lot slower to get. Number 2, and something I was not expecting to gain, were actual clients. After about 6 months of posting, I had a Toronto-based agency reach out and ask if I could shoot their social content as well. The primary thing that I shoot with is this, my FX3, and I wasn't expecting to go on a set and shoot with my phone. Nonetheless, it was a great experience and I hope to do that more. Number 3 were gear sponsorships. Over the year, I had brands like Condor Blue, KNF, Shape, Zhiyun, Joby, Fayutech, Milano, and Frameset. And lastly, I gained so many friends from this app. The reach that I have, I'm connecting with people in Germany, from the States, even in Toronto. I literally wouldn't have met Lizzie if it wasn't for TikTok, and honestly, I'm so grateful for that. The one thing I do notice after posting once every single day is my screen time. In order to create all of this content, you also need to consume a lot of it, and I spent a lot of time on this app. I'm gonna check what it is right now. Last week's average on my phone was 5 hours and 48 minutes, which is actually really low. The week before that, my average was 7 hours and 47 minutes on my phone, TikTok being the most used at 11 hours and 8 minutes. My daily average was an hour and a half on the app, which is pretty good. I have set a limit on TikTok, a screen time limit, where after an hour every single day, there will be an app limit that pops up with a little timer that tells me to get off of the app. So it's actually not as bad as I thought, but if I didn't have the screen time limit, I probably would just continue to scroll because it can get very addicting. Because filmmaking is my full-time job, I wanted to make sure that that stayed a priority and that TikTok and YouTube were still secondary. In conclusion, I am just so happy that I started posting on TikTok. It has brought me so much joy. It's brought me so many connections. It's brought in free gear, and it's just allowed me to practice my ability to educate others in a really consumable format. I encourage you to do the same if you had that same desire to share your process with others and educate. I would not advise you to do this if you're just looking for a quick buck or some free products, because it takes a lot of time and there's a level of passion that goes into it that isn't necessarily monetarily rewarded right away. Why I wanted to start, there's a couple reasons. Number 1 is that a lot of my clients came from Instagram. I got a lot of inbound inquiries for video services just through Instagram, through using hashtags. The platform could decide to just not benefit you anymore. The algorithms could change, the hashtags could change. If I wanted to diversify how I was getting clients, I had a good feeling that this might actually work. I personally was a big consumer of TikTok. I think that's really important to mention because in order to create, you do also need to consume. I don't think you can just create TikToks without understanding the language of the app, the trends, and like what is actually popular, what might actually catch someone's attention. I would strongly encourage, if you don't already have a TikTok account and you're considering being a creator on it, just download the app, be on it as much as you can or as much as you want to, and see if the platform is actually something that you want to be on. Another reason why I wanted to start was obviously because I was hearing that you could blow up quickly. It could just take one viral video and you could have tons of following, you could have tons of engagement. Hearing that you could grow followers quickly was definitely enticing. And finally, the other reason why I wanted to start posting on TikTok consistently was for gear sponsorships. I wanted to do content around the film space and hopefully land some sponsors and in turn help my cinematography career as well. So let's get into the how I actually did this, how I executed, how I created, how I edited, all of this stuff. The majority of the time, my content was created with my phone, despite the fact that I'm a filmmaker and I have access to high quality cameras like the one I'm shooting on now, and lights and audio, I didn't really find the need or even the time to set up all of those things to create a TikTok. This allowed me to just pick my phone up and start creating right away. So I think in general, if you're trying to start a hobby or a habit, you want to find a way of the least amount of friction in order to start. Picking up my phone and recording was super easy. I could do it in my car. I could do it on my couch. I could literally film from anywhere. Those are specifically those talking head videos that I do sometimes. Another form of video that I would do often is on set. As a filmmaker, I'm a little bit lucky in this sense because another form of TikToks that I would create would be behind the scenes. With my phone specifically, I would be capturing the lighting, the camera rigs, anything that would look kind of like cool to a normal person or someone who is a beginner. That allowed me to have this library full of content that I could then batch edit later. Speaking about batch editing, that's exactly what I did. I would batch edit all of these videos. So I would just sit down and make maybe 4 or 6 of them at a time, save all of them to my drafts, and then wait until each day would pass and I would just post a TikTok around noon every day. I wouldn't be wasting time necessarily creating a TikTok every single day and taking little small chunks of my day to dedicate time to making those TikToks. This was another avenue where I felt the least amount of friction because I'm so used to editing on my laptop or with Premiere. With TikTok, I was editing in-app. I wasn't using CapCut or any of the other editing apps. Another thing that I started doing was engaging with other filmmakers on the app. This was done not intentionally. This was just done because I wanted to find other filmmakers in the space, but I did still consume content that wasn't filmmaking related. So that was another kind of interesting find, that even though I'm consuming cat content or healthy recipe content, it doesn't necessarily mean that what I'm consuming is the audience that is receiving the content that I'm putting out. The one thing I quickly realized was this is not a portfolio app. Instagram to me is where my portfolio lives, and a website. 9 times out of 10, I found that posting my finished work didn't necessarily do that well. Maybe it's because I'm a garbage filmmaker. Organic in-app content that is more educational does usually really well. If something is educational that I even scroll past, I will usually save it or I will send it to somebody who maybe would find this information useful as well. Saves and shares help boost engagement overall. A lot of those educational videos sometimes will end with a question, or it'll have some sort of like hot topic or like debatable topic that people can engage with in the comments. Another big thing that I tried to look out for were any new releases on the app. When they rolled out the whole photo option of uploading photos and like carousel swiping through them, longer videos are being pushed a lot more now. Videos are now up to 10 minutes long that you can post. Duetting other people's TikToks, that I also found was very helpful. I did not stick with a really strict posting schedule. I definitely didn't set aside a specific day to make them. I usually aim for around noon. So if noon comes around and I'm by my phone, I will just go into my drafts and post the one that I wanted to post. If I forgot, or if there were days where it was like 7 p.m. or way past noon, I would still post and I wouldn't be concerned about the time of day that I was posting. Some of my most viral videos, for some reason, I would post, I would go to sleep, and the next morning it would have blown up. 6-figure or 5-figure view counts for sure. Within TikTok analytics, you can actually see when the peak hours of your audience are like online. So I definitely used that. A question that I get asked a lot was how I kept coming up with new ideas to post. What I ended up doing was actually double dipping with a lot of these ideas. So with one idea, I could make 5 different TikToks and they would all look differently. One might be a carousel of photos. One might be a talking head where I'm explaining things. You're not exactly, recreating the wheel every time that you want to make a TikTok. If you are also on TikTok, feel free to follow along and say hello. Best of luck, and consider subscribing if you felt this insightful at all. I will see you in the next one. Bye.